We are on the episode San Junipero on our journey to review every single Black Mirror episode. This is Season 3, Episode 4, and is one of the most talked about episodes of Black Mirror, and for a good reason. It's amazing. And the way it unfolds its story, it keeps you guessing, and it all makes sense at the end. Not being too confusing, but also, especially right at the beginning to the middle, making you get a little confused that they're doing a little bit of why they're doing this time traveling. So we start out in 1987, pretty good year, at a resort beach town named San Juniper, and this is a party place. In fact, in this entire episode we see a ton of partying. It feels almost, you could say, artificial. And we're at a dance club where there's arcade machines and also teenagers grooving like an R-rated Saved by the Bell episode. And our main character is Yorkie, and her appearance gives away her personality instantly. She's shy, dorky, and a virgin. But that's going to change very soon. She's not going to meet a man. No, she's going to meet a woman. This is a lesbian love story. And she meets the polar opposite of herself, Kelly, who's outgoing, sexual, cool. This introvert and extrovert collide together and make sweet, sweet love that they should have shown more of. So she meets this girl, Kelly, and they have an instant connection, have sex, and then Kelly just Yorkie can't find her anymore. So at this point, all we know is it's the 80s, and there's a love story. There's not really any science fiction at this point. But then, all of a sudden, she seems to jump to a different decade, still looking for this girl, Kelly. She jumps to the best decade of all time, the 90s, which is displayed very obviously, not by the show telling you exactly what year it is, but actually doing the smart thing. Not telling, but showing. You see a poster of the movie Scream. You see Alanis Morissette with her hit Ironic. You know we are in 1996, and seeing the dichotomy of going from 1987 to 1996, just 9 short years away, you see how much has changed. And it's a good reminder, because I don't think that much has changed in the last 9 years, at least as far as music and movies and how people dress. But there was a huge difference between 1987 and 1996. From 2019 to 2025, not as much of a difference, and it's a shame. Seems like the decades don't have their own identity the way they used to in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Charlie Brooker wrote this episode, of course, and the way he unfolds it is so smart. And it's definitely playing on nostalgia, and I'm here for it. And I think a lot of people enjoy that. Sure, it's easy. You could just kind of throw out music from the 90s that people like, or movie posters, arcade machines, but all this helps to develop the world and kind of shoves it in your face without telling you she's able to time travel. She was in the 80s, now she's in the 90s, and she's still looking for this girl, Kelly. So then you're thinking, how exactly does she time travel? Does she just snap her fingers and go to a different decade? But at its heart, San Juniper is a love story. There is a science fiction edge to it, but it doesn't really lean on that technology. It leans on the first love that Yorkie has for this girl, Kelly, who took her virginity and then just left her, just like a dude would. After they hook up, Yorkie loses track of Kelly and meets up with one of Kelly's past lovers and ex-friends by the name of Wes at this goth club that also seems to be a fight club as well. And he tells her to look for her in a different decade, 90s, 2000s. This is the first indication halfway through this episode where they actually mention that Yorkie is able to time travel. But there's hints. Everything looks a bit artificial when she goes to this goth club. You can tell it looks kind of like a post-apocalyptic club, not something you would really see in the 80s with people with snakes around their neck. And some conversation about how long they've been in this San Junipero. But he says it so casually that it really catches you off guard the first time you hear it. I think something's going on. I know this is a sci-fi series. Then he finally says, go look for her in the 90s, 2000s. You go, oh shit, so you can time travel. And it's a great way to lay it out and say it very casually rather than have some loud music where he goes, why don't you look for her in 1995? It doesn't do that. He just says it casually. So we get, I think, the best part where she begins to time travel to different times. First, they go back to the late 70s. It seems like this is about 1979. They don't tell you the exact date, but once again, they give clues through posters, music, and there's tons of licensed music throughout this episode. And of course, the way people talk and dress. And most importantly, what video games are they playing? When they were in 87, she was playing Bubble Bobble, which came out in 86. When she goes to the 2000s, she's playing Dance Dance Revolution in 2002. If she went to sometime like 2007, they'd probably be playing Guitar Hero. If Charlie Brooker really wanted to go meta, they could travel to 2011, and they, in this episode, could watch the very first episode of Black Mirror, the National Anthem, and review it. So we know at this point that at least Yorkie and some of the other people in San Junipero can time travel, but we're still not exactly sure what's going on. And they unfold it slowly as she meets Kelly in 2002. That's where she is. Not in the 70s, not in the 80s, not in the 90s, of course not. 2002, with her Beyonce haircut. And they begin having a very engaging conversation, talking about how they actually want to meet in real life. And as you're listening to this, you're thinking, oh, so this must be some type of virtual reality scenario. It looks artificial, the people are acting artificial, and now they're saying they're giving their actual locations of where they really live. And then we get the reveal, not at the end, there's still another 20 minutes to go on this episode, that both of them, Kelly and Yorkie, are very old women that are on the brink of death. They're both going to die within the next year. And in this assisted living facility, they're able to spend some amount of time in this virtual reality world where they seem to be playing their younger selves. And this kind of harkens back to something like The Notebook, and is going for the tearjerker. And so we get to see Kelly and Yorkie meet as old women in this assisted living facility, and they have an option. Once they die, they can be uploaded into this virtual database and spend the rest of their, well, lives, the rest of their afterlives in San Junipero, or they could just perish and die. And they seem to be arguing back and forth what is the better scenario. Now, it seems pretty obvious. If you're given the option to, when you die, be uploaded up into this virtual reality world where you can live as your younger self forever, you might as well do that. I mean, why the hell not? They're not engaging in any amount of spirituality or anything like that, which he maybe could have done if you think there's a god. You'd want to do that instead. You don't want to be in the virtual reality. And we get this tug of war until the end of the episode. Is both of them going to pass over and live in San Junipero, or are they just going to die? And we get actually a nice ending, even though it's quite sad to see them in their real selves as they're both very sickly and about to die. In fact, Yorkie is a quadriplegic. They get to live forever in the 80s, or 70s, or 90s, or 2000s. Can they go back to the 50s? How about the 1700s? I don't know if they've updated that software yet. And I think San Junipero is the first episode I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. It really is perfect and hits all the nostalgic markers, maintains a good love story while also having some sci-fi elements, fitting into the Black Mirror universe perfectly, and it's just a visual treat. If you haven't seen Black Mirror, this is definitely one of the episodes I would recommend to watch first. The main character, Yorkie, was played by Mackenzie Davis. She usually plays a tough girl, but here she played a nerd. She was in Terminator Dark Fate as Grace, and Blade Runner 2049 as Marionette. Kelly was played by, I got this name. I got it. Guga Mbatha-Raw. Nailed it. Who was in the 2017 Beauty and the Beast as Plumette, and played the main character, Belle, in the movie Belle in 2013. She also seems to be friends with Kevin Hart, so good job. San Junipero has a respectable 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb, and the most popular review, the one with the most amount of thumbs up, is this one, which gives it a 10 out of 10. The most beautiful thing. This episode is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Me too. Well, maybe not the most beautiful, but it is beautiful. Such a pleasantly unexpected gem in the Black Mirror canon, I agree. It's so unique and stands out from the rest of the episodes, and yet fits right in, much like Nosedive. I so appreciate the pacing, lighting, and tone, acting, casting, everything. Yeah, this one and Nosedive actually do share a lot of similarities as far as being on the lighthearted side. This one's a bit sadder than Nosedive, which is just kind of a rom-com. But it is nice to get a little bit of color in this universe. Talk about restoring my faith in storytelling. Mackenzie Davis and, I have to say this name again, Guga Mbatha-Raw have such great chemistry. The shot compositions are pure art, not to mention a killer score. Yeah, they do a lot of long pans, especially when they go into the dance club Tucker's. It's not a bunch of quick cuts or strobe lights going off all the time, though that does happen in the club. They do slow pans, so everything moves at a kind of slower, more methodical pace, and you really feel like you're there, which I always prefer rather than just the quick cutting. With this show, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop and stomp your face in a million pieces. Well, I don't know about that, but this episode left me absolutely speechless with all and warmth. To all the cast and crew involved, thank you. Sounds like something I would have read. Actually, this person seems to enjoy it more than I did, but I also gave it a 10 out of 10. Next up is the episode Man Against Fire, which is not as happy-go-lucky. But this one's actually an action episode where we see people will get to fight against these monsters. Or are they really monsters? Well, stay tuned to find out. That one comes out next week. And check out our playlist for all episodes of Black Mirror. We're going to cover every single episode, all 33 of them. Every single episode of Tales from the Dark Side, Monsters, Fear Itself, Cowboy Bebop, and Mystery Science Theater 3000. Thanks a lot.